Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest instalment of House of League predictions and a Challenge Cup special this week as we enter the last 16 stage. I'm Matt Shaw, alongside me to give their words of wisdom and their insights of horror, no doubt. Josh McAllister, who's back. What have you been eating recently, Josh?
Nothing exciting.
Excellent.
Nothing exciting.
Boring as ever. And Dan Tomlinson, first time on the prediction show. Not expecting much from you, to be honest.
That's what your table tennis opponent said last Sunday.
That's very Saturday. Yeah, I lost them all. Yeah, but we don't need to go through that. That was tipped.
Some starts the podcast.
No, hey, we can listen. We can. I can get going. Don't worry. I've seen Dan play rugby. So, right.
Have you?
No,
Yeah.
but he sounded good.
So.
Right, let's go through some of these games. Rattle them off. Friday night. Right. Let's start with the easy. I think they're easy ones. No disrespect to the club. hullkr Oldham. Can we just move on? Is anyone tipping Oldham?
I think that's what they said in 2016, wasn't it? But no, hullkr are a very different proposition.
Says Hull FC report.
No, they're complete night and day since then, aren't they? Rovers have completely rebuilt their organisation. They're a top two club. They're going to be competing on both fronts this season. They'll win that comfortably.
Yeah. Oldham rested a few, didn't they, against Barrow and lost?
Did they?
Josh Drinkwater didn't play.
for...
Gil Dudson didn't. There was like 4 senior players that didn't play. They didn't say that they'd rested them for hullkr. They said they got a few sore bodies, so they pulled them out. Maybe they do.
Maybe they fancy it. Yeah, maybe they do fancy it.
I think it'd be foolish, but I don't see hullkr not taking it seriously. They'll make a few changes, I'm sure, but
I think all three can agree on that one.
The other Friday night game, if I'm not wrong, is Saints v Leeds. There's two of the 3. Where we at? 2 teams that lost last week.
Yeah.
St Helens.
That was easy.
Straight in there, yeah.
Straight in there. They'll respond. Like, what did you say, Matt, on the weekly podcast? Calm down. Yeah, everyone needs to calm down with St Helens. They'll have too much for Leeds. You'd expect a result, especially after getting nils for 3rd time in a row now in Perpignan, but I don't think it'd be too much to turn them over.
I'll make it interesting then and go Leeds for almost the same reasons, as they'll want to bounce back from their 11-0 defeat, was it, in France? And, we've seen glimpses of how good they can be, and against Salford, they look good. So go on, we can go against each other. Eh?
I'm very much on the fence. I think it'll be a very close game.
I'm sure you said that about Las Vegas.
Probably. No, I didn't. I definitely didn't. They need Ryan Hall back if they're going to win the game, because they need that start of sets to Leeds. I'm not surprised they didn't beat Catalans once I saw it. I think Ryan Hall is incredibly important to them, and people don't realise, even though he's only a winger. Can they unlock Saints? Yeah, I think they can. Although Brodie Croft's been a long way off. His form's been really... I know he's missed a game and a half, hasn't he, because of injury, but the 2 full 80-minute performances have been woeful. But people said he questioning whether Leeds can finish 3rd still. That's where I tipped him. I do genuinely still think Leeds will come good.
Have you had people questioning that?
Yes.
4 rounds in?
Yes.
A long way to go, isn't it?
I still think Leeds will come good. I'll go Saints. Just home advantage.
There you go.
Home advantage. And then the other game, which is maybe the game of the round given circumstances, and lots of circumstances around it, is Salford v Bradford. Salford, we're not going over Salford again. I'm fed up of speaking about it.
Yeah, I imagine in the podcast that was quite a heavy topic. But this is a fixture to keep an eye on just because of that. And obviously Bradford beat Castleford in the previous round in a bit of an upset. If you looked at the teams, it might not have been too much an upset. So there is every chance.
Humbled last week though in Toulouse.
Heavily
beaten.
Yeah. Lost their 100% record. There is only one championship team with a 100% record now.
Yeah. Who could that
Is that
be?
the one who only won 1 game and went for an entire season? Like, was it 26 losses?
Oh, that's 20 odd years ago, Dan.
Still
Halifax top of the league. Top of the league.
indeed,
Kyle Eastman's Panthers flying. Anyway, they're not in the Challenge Cup. Shock. So where are we going? Salford or Bradford, Dan?
Salford I'd love to say, we're going to get another shock. But if Salford, if they're going to get their first winning and get their season going, it has to be this. You can't be losing to a championship side.
Let's be honest, right? That Salford team that was out against Castleford's a good team
Yeah.
and beats a championship team.
Yeah, they do.
Even, If it was at Odsall,
Yeah, I was just about to say, if it's at Odsall, I think it'd be a lot closer because of the tight pitch and the battle of
agree.
the forwards. But at Salford and the players they can play.
Team with a week's pay packet in the bank balances as well.
and they'll have trained this week.
Yeah.
And
They'll be a bit mentally. That's what I'm saying. Mentally, they'll be a bit more
in a
stable.
better place. Yeah. So we're all in agreement. I think. Yeah. Right. Okay. Good. Saturday. So the game that you two are both going to is Wigan v Hull FC. Hull FC, who I think have exceeded expectations so far. Not even just in terms of results, but in terms of how they've played. But they are playing Wigan. They were smoked by Wigan only a couple of weeks ago at home. They now have to go to the Brick. Any hope for Hull FC here, Dan?
Yeah.
Look at what Wigan have done since that game. Absolutely pumped wire on the big stage in Vegas. Little bit of a hangover in the first half, 18-10 down against Huddersfield. So what do? They come out and score 34 unanswered points and knock off a team by 40 again.
Yep.
What an organisation they are. It's a massive, massive challenge for Hull. But you're absolutely right. They've, certainly outside of Hull, they're making people, just take a little bit of notice and say, oh yeah, I'm not saying they're back by any stretch of the imagination or they're going to be competing for silver or anything daft like that. But they look like a team again. They're connected, they're resilient, they're dogged, they're spirited, they're gritted. They've got all those qualities about them. They don't go away now. And I think that's a big pat on the back for Richie Bell's recruitment. He got a lot of scrutiny for it, signing older statesmen, as people referred him to as. They're exactly what Hull needed to support that young core of talent that they've got.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the two wingers, Harvey Brown and Lewis Martin. You speak of Ryan
great.
Hall. They've been getting sets going. The carries and the meters they've made this year are ridiculous.
They've gone well.
So, yeah, they've got some moving parts there.
So given all of that, are you tipping Hull to
I was
win?
going to say, Dan,
No, I'm not that daft.
Dan is buzzing. That was almost motivational, that.
Not that daft. But you'd like to see him put up a fight and keep it competitive. Unfortunately, it was a perfect storm in that round 2 game. Wigan had just, lost Lee, 1-0 Golden Point. Wigan are a championship outfit. They don't lose 2 in a row very often. They've been seething from that. Hull had a few injuries that night. I'm not using it as an excuse, but it's reality. Wigan have got squad depth because they're a champion organisation. Hull aren't quite there yet. So when they lose their best players, it affects them more. Yeah. A lot of them players are back now. Jed Cartwright came back. There's talk that Zach Hardacre is going to be in contention to play, certainly from John Cartwright last week. Sort of knocking on the door now a little bit, going full tilt again. So it'd be nice to see a little bit of progress and see how far they can take Wigan. I don't think they're going to win, but it'd be nice not to get humbled and actually put up a fight and push Wigan. Take them, make them have to produce something special to win the game. That would be good to see.
Josh, I'm sure you can summarise it in a much quicker way than Dan
I was going
did.
to say that was. How do you
Just giving the people what they want, their LSE content. They don't know it's what they want.
No, this is an all-out rugby league podcast, Dan. not.
I thought it was an all FC podcast for a couple of minutes then. Yeah, it's going to be Wigan, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how. You don't have to expand much more on what Dan said there. 34 unanswered points. They turned the heat on Sunday in the second half. Yeah. After a bit of a half-time team talk, Matt Pete said the players just talked amongst themselves about what they needed to do. Yeah, they came out firing. Jay Fields looking in hot form. In fact, I think this
he's played really well.
I think this is
so far
maybe the best we've seen Jay Field in Super League. He's had an electric start to the 2024 campaign. So yeah, Wigan again. I think it could be close. I think one thing with Hull is you don't see him give up, do you? Like even when the result against Wigan, I don't think we saw them give up. Like last season, the mentality might have been was different.
Well, they looked different.
They lost by 70 to Wigan in round 2.
So even the score, it was a big one. I don't think Hull actually gave up in that game. So yeah, and I think it's on BBC this one, isn't it? So let's hope for a close game that many people are watching. But I do think a Wigan win.
Right, you two have done the chatting. Wigan will win. Moving on. Widnes v Warrington. Anyone back in the Vikings?
They've been terrible, Warrington, so far. Here he goes. Oh yeah, I said they'll be bottom 6. But they've been poor. They got 2 wins at the start of the year.
Have you ever seen someone so bitter that I might have made a good point?
Well, it's just like a stop clock. You always get something right.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, it's very true.
That's definitely what they say in Salford. They probably don't even give you that much credit, to be fair.
No, I've never been right on anything about Salford, apparently. Anyway, moving on. We don't need.
No, we don't need to go back to that. But no, Warrington have had a bad start. They've had a bad start. Very uncharacteristic of what they were under Sam Burgess last year. Yeah, but they're not going to lose to win this. They're just not.
No.
Then are they? What more do you have to add to that? It wouldn't even be bouncing back, would it? Because on paper they should win that one easily. Warrington, shouldn't they? I know at Widnes. I mean, hopefully there's a big crowd there at Widnes. And amongst all the IMG talk and Bradford and Toulouse going Super League, we've sort of almost forgotten about Widnesvikings. I mean, this is for another day on the podcast. But, you know, they were in Super League not that long ago. So
2018?
Yeah, so almost a forgotten club in the IMG talk. I mean, obviously they'll have a long way to go with the off-field stuff and, you know, results count. But yeah, that's for another day. But yeah, based on the Challenge Cup, yeah, Warrington.
It's going to be Warrington, isn't it? I do think it'll be a decent contest, certainly for a period of time. I think Warrington are low on confidence. We all know that Widnes and the fans will show up for that game because it's a big rivalry. I think they'll hang with them for a while. It'll be that classic Challenge Cup game where eventually the full-time fitness and conditioning prevails, would be my take on it. But I think it'll be uncomfortable for Warrington going there, for sure. And then the other game on the Saturday, if I'm right, is Catalan at home to Featherstone. I don't think Josh, anything need to be said on this?
I don't. You wouldn't say so, would you? Well, it could be tricky given Catalan's start. I know they got the recent win over Leeds. But
I mean, they struggled in the Challenge Cup in the last round, but they were playing the best team in the Championship right now when they did, you know, away from home. So
what did that fit? 14-0?
14-0.
And only after 65 minutes as well.
It was 2-0 after about 60 minutes.
Was it? Yeah. But
he'll dine off that for years.
Yeah, I reckon that could get mentioned in the podcast.
A 14-0 defeat and you're dining off it for years is a terrible indictment of what it's like wanting Halifax Panthers to do well. But anyway, it's very true, sadly.
But back to the predictions, Dragons.
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, Catalans. Pressure relieving win against Leeds last week. They're at home again, which is a big factor for them. Just boost some confidence as well. Hopefully, good attacking performance, post some points on the board. Fev won't go away. We all know what they're about. Obviously, a good friend of ours, Paul Cook, he's obviously in charge there right now, and he'll get that club ticking eventually. So. Yeah, but it'd be nice to see if they could put up a plucky performance, but Catalans are going to have too much quality there and they'll get the job done.
Another Super League Championship game is Lee Batley. Can we move on?
Do we have to add much to that?
No.
The Leopards are on fire.
Yeah.
Until they came up against the mighty Hull FC, of course. But yeah.
Well, yeah.
Still managed to get a draw away from home. Yeah, all Lee.
Yeah, I think that's simple enough, isn't it?
It's the song in it.
Yeah, it is. And then lastly, which I think this is a little bit trickier to predict than people think. Huddersfield at home to Wakefield on Sunday.
I'd have easily said Wakefield based on
Would
form.
you?
Yeah. Luke Robinson was pretty deflated and frustrated after that Wigan performance. Okay. And they did look good in the first half. They did, but the second half they crumbled. Self-implosion again.
If I'm correct, Huddersfield have been winning every game at half-time this season.
Matt Pete and Luke Robinson both said that. That's why there wasn't much panic in the Wigan changing rooms because they sort of knew that Huddersfield would do that at half-time. They just knew they had to be strong in the second half. But yeah, there was just sort of self-implosion. He said himself, Luke Robinson, just silly penalties, selfish penalties, too many individual errors. But I think going into that one, it would be Wakefield for me.
Okay, Wakefield, any counter?
Maybe Huddersfield need to get some better half-time oranges, smelling salts and...
You need some Jaffa cakes.
Yeah, something's going on.
That's what we used to have at the 16s level. Half-time Jaffa cakes. Yeah. Who's us? Half-time table tennis Jaffa cakes.
No, I used to play before people started punching. I liked to play in, and then I can't throw a punch. So,
what were you? Number 9, 6, 7?
I was best at back row. I was a good back row. I could run a good line. They tried me in the halves, and my coach said, "You have the brain to be a half-back. Unfortunately, you've got nothing else." Which, physically I wasn't there, or technically, but I knew what I was supposed to do.
That's just what his table tennis coach said.
I'm not a natural sportsman, but anyway, it's what it is. Moving on.
But where you gonna win? I feel a little bit like I told you, sir. We're Wakey. If anyone actually listens to me, all two of them. They were very good in that Championship Grand Final against Toulouse that you sent me to. It's the brand of rugby. They shape up the same way, no matter who they play. And when it clicks, it's an absolute joy to watch. Yeah. Some of the rugby they played at Henley, round 1, outstanding. Again,
played good rugby all season.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Again, at Warrington, it was outstanding. So when they click, they're going to be a handful for a lot of teams. And yeah, they'll swift past Huddersfield.
I think people are overlooking Huddersfield a bit. I know they've lost every game. I don't think the performances have been as bad as the results say. They've been competitive for large parts of, they lost. I mean, Warrington aren't playing well, but they only lost to Warrington by 8.
The scoreline was harsh, I think, at Wigan.
Apparently so. I mean,
I think it was 8 points. I think Luke Emerson said there was 8 points in the last 10 minutes, and then just ran away with it.
They lost to Hull by 1. They've been there or thereabouts without getting over the line. So I don't think they're as bad as people.
That whole game though, Matt, they threw it away. They had it in the palm of the hand, and they threw it away.
But that's more reason to think they're not doing that bad.
Just
I think what I'm saying is people look at it and go, 4 results, they're awful. In the games I've watched at Huddersfield, they haven't been awful.
Yeah.
I think they're a more competitive team than the results suggest so far. At home, to
I don't think the venue makes much of a difference in.
No, home advantage doesn't really happen, to be honest. Well, the stats say it doesn't. I don't know. I've got a nagging feeling that Huddersfield might win that game.
I'm going to go 2v1.
So I'll go Huddersfield. Yep. Mix it up. Right, I think that's everything. That was easy enough. Not many arguments other than Dan sniping at me for the whole show.
I don't think I'll come next week.
Yeah, well, Dan's definitely not coming back next week. Unless he's wrong on all these predictions, and then he can come back. Thank you for joining us. That has been our Challenge Cup last 16 prediction show. We will be back with another instalment next week. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Above all else, enjoy your rugby league. Take care.